Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom, Rabbi.
Let's try that one more time. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Much better. We're so thrilled to see all of you here at Temple Beth Zion. I'm Rabbi Sharon Sobel. Our soloist for this morning is Zach Steinberg. And we're so pleased that we're here to celebrate Shabbat and to celebrate as Leah becomes bat mitzvah. We're going to take a moment to get in the mood and the spirit of this moment, this time of Shabbat. So I'm just going to ask everyone to check that your phones, your cameras are on silent and off, and actually put away. Because it's Shabbat, we don't take any photographs during the service. There is a photographer here who will be getting all those photos for you. We want everyone to be fully present in this time. We are doing a live stream, and the family will get a copy of that video. So they'll have many mementos of everything that goes on. This moment will be so much more meaningful if everyone fully participates in this worship experience. It's not a performance, it's not a test. And our worship experience is made more complete and full by our Siddur, our prayer book, Mishkan Tefillah. And I'm going to take a moment to introduce you to our Siddur, our prayer book. It's a little different than some. Every prayer is usually found on a 2-page spread. There are some exceptions. On the upper right-hand side is the Hebrew. Right next to it is the Hebrew and English letters. That's called transliteration. On that same page, right beneath it, is the most literal translation in English. On the opposite side, on the left page, are usually 2 poetic translations. We don't read everything on all 2 pages because we'd be here until the summer, and I know that you have other things to do today. So we'll usually do one of those 4 things on any 2-page spread. And if we just turn 1 page, we might not announce it because we figured everybody here is very intelligent. But if we turn more than 1 page, we'll announce the page so you know where we're going. We're not going to let you wander aimlessly in the prayer book. We invite everybody to join in all of the English. If you know Hebrew, join in the Hebrew, the singing. This is a participatory experience, and it will make it so much more enjoyable for all of you, for Leah. We have a policy here at Temple Beth Zion that you must wear a mask all the time. We know that COVID, the numbers are going back up, especially here in Erie County. And one of the Jewish values is called pikuach nefesh, that saving a life takes precedence above everything else. So we want everybody to stay healthy. So Zach and I don't wear a mask when we're up here so you can hear us. And when Leah is at the podium, she won't be wearing her mask right at the podium and anyone who's reading, but once we leave the podium, our masks go back on. And if you start to feel uncomfortable or you feel like you need some air, you're more than welcome to go outside, not in the building, but go literally out the door, get some air. You can take off your mask outside. It's called take a break. Come back in, put your mask on, and then come back inside. We know we are living in very unusual times. It's been 2 years since COVID, and hopefully that will be done soon. We'll take a breath now. Inhale the beautiful spirit of Shabbat and this moment. And we'll continue with Hine Matov, how beautiful it is for all of us to be here together on page 10. And this particular melody, Leah and Hannah know from religious school because Zach wrote this melody himself. Page 10. We now invite our first honor for the reading on the bottom of page 169, Leah's aunt, uncle, and cousins, Brandy, Dave, Mia, and Ruby Fryman, up to the podium. Page 169 on the bottom. No, down there.
We give thanks to you, O God, for this Shabbat day, which unites us as a community of faith and hope. For the holiness of Shabbat, which can lead us to fulfill the best that is in us, we give thanks. For the memories of Shabbat, enriched by generations of our people who observed it, from it, drew courage to face hardship and light to banish darkness, we are grateful. We offer thanks for the peace of Shabbat, the day consecrated to family love. O God, our turning to you exalts our humanity. You are the joy of our life, the source of its greatness, its power, and its beauty. Help us, O God, to find inspiration for the coming week. Help us to find peace within ourselves and one another.
Thank you. For the next honor, on the top of page 218, we invite Leah's aunt, uncle, and cousin, Josh, Monica, and Rose Talmud.
We sit in community, elbow to elbow, eye to eye, so close perhaps we brush against each other as we move in prayer. Ears filled with the voices of friends, teachers, fellow travelers who pray with us from the next seat from across the room. We come to silence, rhythm of words, shared melody, hushed. Connected first one to all, we now let go to be alone with the Holy One, to speak in mind and heart and soul, but not with lips. The prayers we weave together cannot replace that private conversation. God, our partner, awaits us, one by one, a miracle.
Thank you. We now invite our bat mitzvah of the hour to come and lead us on page 170.
May my life be one link in a chain of goodness, as I say the prayers of my ancestors. Help me to recall their devotion and faithfulness, their joy and suffering, which are in every word. Holiness is my heritage. May I be worthy of it. May our tradition live in me, and pass from me to generations I shall never know, enriched by the truth that I have found in the good deeds I have done. So may I fulfill my task on earth and receive my blessing. And when the service ends and the prayers have ceased, help me to bring their spirit into the world in which I live. May I love God above all and my neighbor as myself, and be a living witness to the truth that never changes.
So Leah is about to put on this talit. In just a moment, we'll invite her parents up. But what makes a talit special is that it has to have 4 corners. And on each of the 4 corners is a specific number of threads, tied with a specific number of knots. And one of the threads is wrapped around a specific number of times. And if we add up all of the threads, the knots, and the wrappings, it's supposed to add up to 613, which are supposedly the number of commandments in the Torah. Leah, when you put on this talit, you are symbolically taking upon yourself the observance of those commandments. As Reformed Jews, we don't do all of the commandments, but we are obligated to study those traditions. And the task that you have is to figure out which of those commandments are meaningful to you. based on three things. One, what do you think God wants you to do? The second, what do you think keeps you connected to the Jewish community? And the third, what do you think is important for you as an individual? What do you think is important for you as an individual is important to do? Based on all those three things together. It's not an easy task. That's what this talit means. And now at this time, I'm going to invite your mother, Rebecca, and your dad, Brian, to come as their final act in helping you to get ready for this moment. Come stand behind her. And your mom is going to say a few words about the significance of this particular talit.
Leah, this is the talit that my parents gave to me for my bat mitzvah, and now we're giving it to you.
Don't put it on her yet. Just hold it behind her. She has to say the blessing first. Okay, Leah, repeat after me. Baruch atah Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam.
Eloheinu melech haolam,
Asher kiddushanu.
asher kiddushanu,
B'mitzvotav.
b'mitzvotav,
V'tzivanu.
v'tzivanu,
L'chitatev.
l'chitatev,
Batzitzit.
batzitzit. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to wrap ourselves in the fringes. As I wrap myself in the talit, I fulfill the mitzvah of my Creator.
And the first time we do anything, we sing a Shehachianu, thanking God for sustaining us, giving us life, and enabling us to reach this time of joy.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehachianu v'kimanu v'higiyanu b'zman hazeh.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware. We would lack the strength to sustain life before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength. The soul that you have given me, O God, is pure. You created and formed it, breathed it into me, and within you sustain it. So long as I have breath, therefore, I give thanks to you, my God and the God of all ages, source of all being, love, guide of every human spirit.
We continue on the bottom of page 178. This is the blessing for Torah study. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah, Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage with words of Torah.
Adonai our God, make the words of your Torah sweet to us in the house of Israel, your people. And we and our children may be lovers of your name and students of your Torah. We praise you, O God, teacher of Torah, to our people Israel.
Baruch atah Adonai, hamelamed Torah le'amo Yisrael. We continue with Chatzi Kaddish on page 194. Yitgadal ve'yitgadash me'rama Be'amad divrach yirutei ve'amlich malchutei V'chayechon v'yomechon U'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael Ba'agala U'bizman kariv V'yimeru Amen Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach Li'alam olal me'amaya Yitbarach ve'yishtabach Ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitroma v'yinaseh Ve'yitadar ve'yitala Shemei dekutsha brichu Le'ela min kol berchata Ve'shirata Tushbechata ve'nechemata Tamira b'yamaha ve'imeru. Amen. We rise in body or spirit for the Baruch Hu. We continue now on page 196.
The world is sunlight, restoring the soul, rejoicing the heart, bringing light to the eyes, more welcomes than gold, a Torah from heaven. I have no light to give the morning. My Torah, my special human gift, is words. As I bring my words forth from silence, welcome them. You who redeems the sun from darkness.
Baruch atah Adonai, Yoser HaMe'orot. We continue responsively on page 199.
O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear, in every land and every age. Your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways. And yet, O God, you are one, unifier of humanity.
We give thanks for the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Gratefully we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel. And joyfully we remember that from the dawn of Israel's life, we return to you and find purpose.
May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds, and their passion for righteousness stir our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth.
Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael ba'ahava.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם. בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידך והיו לו תותפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
And now we continue on page 203.
Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect. The song of God's miracles, and earth protected and cherished. A gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content. Her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed. The song of peace.
Micha mocha.
Oh,
Israel, Uvdechinu Mecha Yehuda ve'Yisrael, Go Aleinu, Adonai Tzvaot Shemo, Kadosh Israel, Baruch Atah Adonai, Gal Israel. We rise now for the tefillah in body or spirit as we go straight from page 205 to 208.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Vegomer Yaakov, V'zocher Chasdei Avot Mimahot, Umevi Gula Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Hakol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Morid Atah, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayei Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, Umito Melach, Melech Memit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atzal chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Mekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, Kishem shimachti shimo tzodish memaro, Kakatuv ayad neviecha, V'kara zel zeh ve'amar,
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzebaot, Melech kol haaretz, Kevodo.
Adir Hadirenu Adonai Adonenu, Ma'adir Shimcha b'chol haaretz,
Baruch Kevod Adonai, Mimkomo.
Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu hu Malkeinu, hu Moshienu v'hu Yashmienu, ורחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם,
ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהייך ציון, לדור ודור. הללויה.
לדור נדור נגיד גאונך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל
הקדוש. Please be seated. And we'll continue with our prayer, our song for Shabbat, Yismechu, on the top of page 211. We continue on page 212.
On this Shabbat day, as you graciously receive our prayers, help us to hear your call. Grant us enough health to fulfill our duties and the compassion we need to attend to others. Teach us humility that we may perceive our own faults, and grant us the wisdom to be forgiving of others. Give us the courage to be true to our highest selves, and the charity to see the best in those around us. Give us the patience enough not to become discouraged, hope enough to overcome all fears for the future, and faith enough to know your presence. O source of blessing, look with favor upon us. May our offerings be acceptable to you. We praise you, Adonai, whom alone we serve in reverence.
Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. We continue with our prayer for peace, Sim Shalom, on page 216. Leah, you can have a seat now. We take a moment for silent prayer and reflection.
Say shalom say shalom aleinu. Ve'al Yisrael. Ve'al yoshvei tevel.
We now turn to page 244 on the bottom for Seder Kriyat HaTorah. Av harachamim etiva v'rsoncha at Zion tibna chomot Yerushalayim ki v'cha levad batachnu melech eram v'nisa Adon olamim. In just a moment, I'm going to open the ark. And at that time, once I open the ark, I'm going to invite everyone to please rise. And at that time, I'm going to ask Leah, her parents, Brian and Rebecca, her grandparents, Fred and Deanna Talmud and Lynn Book, to come and stand up here facing the ark to line up in generational order for the symbolic passing of the Torah. Please rise. Then I can just hold it. Just stand there. Just no. Leah, this Torah, not the specific one, but the Torah in general, has been passed down for thousands of years, from Moses at Mount Sinai, to the elders, to the prophets, to the rabbis, to all of the generations, to your great-grandparents, to your parents, aunts and uncles and cousins. And now it's going to be symbolically passed from your grandparents' loving arms to your parents to you. I hope you will feel that symbolic weight of its heaviness, of all of the people who came before you. In our ark, we have a Holocaust Torah. Do you see that Torah, the one up in the middle with the black stripe? That Torah survived Nazi persecution. Last week, we observed Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Memorial Day, Remembrance Day. The Nazis tried to wipe out generations of Jews, and they saved Torah scrolls to be a memory of a people who no longer existed. But here you are. And you are going to be reading from the Torah loud and proud. And this Torah is not some text that's in a museum to be a relic of a people that doesn't exist. Because of people like your grandparents and your parents and you who take what's inside and figure out a way to make it meaningful. We know that life is not always easy. And it's now your responsibility to figure out, how are you going to take what's inside and live life fully and completely with this important text? How are you going to be able to dance with joy with our tradition? Not so that it feels like a burden, but that it feels very light, and that it adds to your life in a way that brings joy to others, so that when you hand it down to the next generation, we can do so with that same sense of value and meaning that your grandparents and parents handed to you now.
Leah, in passing you this Torah, we are also passing on the hopes of our parents and grandparents who wanted to see succeeding generations continue on a path toward ethical and fulfilling lives.
So beautiful.
When we pass down the Torah to you, we are passing down all of the customs and traditions that were observed by your relatives and your Jewish community, as well as a commitment that you'll continue to build on your ongoing relationship with God.
That is so beautiful. Brian, can you hold that up to Leah as she reads what's in?
In this scroll is the secret of our people's life from Sinai until now. Its teaching is love and justice and goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it.
Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah. Le'amo Yisrael B'kdushato. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai גדול אדוננו, קדוש שמו. גדול אדוני הציל, ומרומם שמו יחדיו. לך אדוני הגדולה, והגבורה, והחפץ, והנצח והאור. כי כל השמיים ובארץ, כי כל השמיים ובארץ, לך אדוני המלך, והמתנשא לכל דור.
So Leah has been preparing for this moment for a long time, not just how to lead the service so beautifully and how to read Torah, but she and her parents and I have been studying the Torah portion and how to give meaning to its lessons. So Leah will be sharing her Devar Torah, a little bit of a teaching about this Torah portion with us now. Once I get my mask back on. Okay, Leah, come on over.
Shabbat Shalom.
Let's try that one more time.
Shabbat Shalom. The Torah portion for this week is a Harimot from the book of Leviticus. These laws focus on rituals which take place in the portable sanctuary which the Israelites carry with them in the wilderness. Aaron, Moses' brother, and his sons are the Kohanim, the priests. They perform the rituals on behalf of the people for God in the sanctuary. This portion focuses on specific rituals which must be performed once a year, which now have become the holiday of Yom Kippur. In the time these rules were made, people prayed by offering sacrifices to God. The priests would offer the sacrifices on behalf of the people. The priests would need to wear special clothes and say special words when they performed their rituals. The rules have changed now that we no longer offer sacrifices and have priests. Each person can now offer their own prayer from their heart directly to God. I am reading Leviticus chapter 16, verses 20 through 28. These verses are about a specific ritual done once a year called the Scapegoat. This is when the Israelites figuratively put their sins on a male goat marked for a place called Azazel. Azazel is a term that referred to a place of wilderness. After they symbolically place their sins on the goat's head, they send the goat into the wilderness to symbolize letting go of their sins. A second goat was then offered as a sacrifice to God. The main idea of these verses is that one thing can represent many different things to many different people. The traditional Jewish commentators think that the two goats mean many different things. Medieval commentator Don Isaac Abravanel thinks the two goats represent our two biblical ancestors, Jacob and Esau. The goat for Azazel represents Esau, who wandered away from his heritage. And the goat who is offered up to God represents Jacob, who devotes his life to God and his people. Another medieval commentator, Ibn Ezra, thinks the two goats represent the good and the bad. The scapegoat was to protect people from evil influences, and the one sacrifice was offered to God as a gift. I feel that maybe the goats represent just doing what the Israelites are told. When God told them to use the goats, they did. When he said they needed to send one into the wilderness, they did. This shows that everyone doesn't agree about what the goats represent, but it is okay for people to disagree and have different views. The important thing is to obey God's commandments. Today, this shows us that you can have a different opinion from someone else, and that doesn't make them a bad person. It doesn't make you better. It just means that you don't agree, that you are different from them. And that isn't bad, it isn't good, it's just normal. As part of my Bat Mitzvah studies, I will have to do a mitzvah project. I am choosing to raise money for animal shelters. I will be throwing a party for dogs. You can bring your dog, and the entry fee will be $5 for each dog you bring. The $5 will go to Buffalo Underdogs Rescue, a charity for animals to find a home and a family. I am doing this because I feel that just like people, all dogs and other animals have the right to be happy, to be loved, and to have a family. I think that after doing this, I will have a better understanding of how important it is to help people and animals. After all this is over, I might finally convince my mom to let me get a dog. After this project is over, I will probably still make sure to help animals. I will still donate to causes for them, and I might even buy them some fun toys to play with. Next, I would just like to thank Rabbi Sobel, Judy Henn, Zahava Fried, and my religious school teachers. First, I want to thank them for putting up with me, because that is a hard task. And second, for helping me learn what I know today. I would like to thank Zach Steinberg for leading the music today. Finally, I would like to thank my family. My mom, for always making me laugh. My dad, for trying and failing to do the exact same thing. My stepmom, Katie, for doing all she can to keep me safe. And Hannah, who even though is the most annoying person, second to only me, she is my best friend and I can never live without her.
For our first Aliyah, we invite Leah's grandparents, Fred and Deanna Talmud and Lynn Book. Yamdu, Feivel ben Eliyahu Bedina, Berachel bat Yosel, Berachel bat Herschel.
Baruch et Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher B'Chabanu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vehila mikaper hakodesh vet ohel moed vet hamizbeach vehikriv et asair chechai v'semach acharon et shetei adav al rosh asair chechai v'hidfata alav et kol abonot bnei Yisrael ואת כל פשעיהם לכל חטאותם, ונשא אותם על ראש השעיר, ושאלה ביד אישיתי המדברה, ונשא השעיר עליו את כל עוונות בני, ואת כל עוונותם לארץ גזירת, ושאלה את השעיר במדבר.
ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
And now you're going to do the grandparents' blessing.
Oh. O God of all humanity, we lift up our voices in gratitude for the gift of Torah that Leah accepts on this day. We celebrate Leah's taking her place among the Jewish people. May she do so with pride and joy. O God, as you have called upon the children of Israel to be a light to the nations, so too may our granddaughter be her own ray of light to the world, bringing blessing upon our family, the Jewish people, and all of us. Amen.
Of course. One says no crying, the other says of course crying. But they're happy tears. Mazel tov. For our second aliyah, we invite Leah's parents, Brian Book and Rebecca Book. Yamdu ben Levi ben Yitzchak, Berachel, Berivka bat Feivel, Vedina.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'en.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Ufashat. Nope. Amen. Uva Aharon Elohel Moed. Ufashat et bigdei habad. Asher lavash bivo El HaKodesh. V'hini ham sham. V'rahatz et besaro mamayim. V'achrehen yava'o El Chamachaneh. Amen. Uva Aharon Elohel Moed Ufashat et bigdei habad Asher lavash bivo El HaKodesh V'hini ham sham V'rahatz et besaro b'mayim V'achrehen b'makom kadosh Lavash et begadav V'atza et olato V'edolat ha'am V'hiper ba'ado Uva'ad ha'am V'eid Parchach Pelev V'chachatat Yaktir Hamizbeha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
No, there.
All right. For our last aliyah, we invite our bat mitzvah of the day. Ta'amod, ta'amod, ta'amod. Leah, bat, ben Levi v'Rivka, lichvod bat mitzvah. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai notain HaTorah. V'cham shaleach et asair lahazazel yichapes begatav v'rahatz et besaro b'mayim v'achreihem yavo el chamachaneh v'eid parchachatai v'eid seir hachatai asher uva et amam l'chaper b'kodesh Yotzi al mihud lamachaneh v'sarfu ba'esh et oratam ve'et pirsham ve'et v'saram ve'et pirsham v'chasam ve'votam yichabes v'gatav v'rahatz et b'saro b'mayim v'achreihen yavo el chamachaneh.
Beautiful. Did it. Running nose off. Blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natav b'tzolchenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Leah? Mazel tov. She was so calm with the nose running. She didn't even say, I need a tissue. Mishaberach avotenu ve'imotenu, may the one who has blessed our ancestors bless you, for you've been called to the Torah's bat mitzvah. May the Holy One grant you love of Torah, love of our people, and love of all things Jewish, as we say together, Mazel tov. You can go give your parents a hug, and you're going to sit down for one moment. Don't go too far. Just sit in the front row. Doesn't matter. So now in front of the open Torah, because the Torah represents that divide between the human and divine worlds, we think of those members of our community and our family and friends who are in need of healing of body, mind, or spirit. And this Shabbat, we especially think of Christy Aldridge, Willie Bear, Gaten Bernard, Cynthia Braun, Melissa Kochavi, Eileen Donnelly, Stacy Donovan, Rabbi Ellen Weinberg-Dreyfus, Helen Erkela, Linda Friedman, David Frumman, Sharon Frumman, Rick Gratch, Rabbi Fred Green, Arthur Haskup, Luna Holmes, Renee Knight, Rabbi Dara Lerner, Judy Lopez, Mark Mansfield, Richard El Marceau, Ari Sobel, Paul Stalley, Mark Yablin, Neil Zions, Miriam Bela Bat Nechama, and Tirza Yehudit Bat Sarah. And if any of you are in need of healing for a loved one whose name I have not mentioned, I invite you to share that name with me now as my eyes pass your way. And for those of you who are with us via live stream, I invite you to share with us the names of your loved ones from your homes at this time as well. As together we sing our Mishaberach, a prayer for healing, which can be found on page 253. us find the courage to make our lives a blessing.
Let us say Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, renewal of body, renewal of spirit. Let us say
At this time, I invite Leah, Brian, and Rebecca to come back up. And Brian and Leah have some words of blessing for their daughter.
Leah, from the moment you were born, we both looked forward to capturing every milestone in your life. There were the major highlights, such as rolling, crawling, and walking for the first time. We celebrated your first words, which, had we known then there was going to be no way of stopping you from speaking, we may have discouraged your development of language a little bit more. We rejoiced sending you off to daycare and then to school for the first time, and watched as you easily detached from us. But as we turned around to head out the door, we both forced ourselves to fight back the tears for needing to leave you behind to begin your journey of taking on the world without us. We can recall and celebrate the small stuff as well, including walking down Grandma and Papa's stairs for the first time, when you learned to swim, ride your bike on the giant field without training wheels, graduating elementary school, and things as recent as trying out for the school volleyball team and musical without any prior experience, and being confident enough in your own abilities to thrive. We watched you grow every day and discover new things about yourself, such as your devotion to friends, your passion for reading and dance, your natural ability to learn and understand new concepts by only looking at it a few times, and of course, your fondness for being the center of attention. In our minds, we were secretly praying that you'd stop growing up because it was all happening too quickly for us. But then we realized that instead of being sad about things moving too fast, that it's only the beginning. We all have the front row seats to the greatest show in the world. And although those amazing memories are sacred, and all of us will continue to replay them in our heads on a loop, it's what you're doing right now and the potential of what you could do moving forward that puts us on the edge of our seats and makes us so proud.
Lulu. Your mom and I seemed to close our eyes for what seemed like only a moment, and suddenly a teenager stood where our baby girl used to be. We may not be able to carry you in our arms anymore, but we will always carry you in our hearts. You've given us so many reasons to be proud of the young woman you are becoming, but the proudest moment is telling others that you are our daughter. Now, just because you're a bat mitzvah, it doesn't mean that our job as parents is finished. You're still a little girl who isn't so little anymore. We hope that wherever life's journey takes you, that you'll continue to seek the words of wisdom and ask for help from not only us, but from Katie, Mike, your grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, cousins, and friends. We are your roots, the beginnings that you grew from. Being a bat mitzvah and getting older, you will take on more responsibilities. With that comes everyday choices that will continue to shape the person you are. We are here to remind you that with these choices, not to ignore what you feel and what you believe is right and important. You won't be perfect, you will make mistakes, but your faith in God, the support of your family and our values, and your self-confidence will guide you in times of uncertainty. We want you to hold on to your dreams and reach them diligently and honestly, without taking the easy way to achieve them. Finally, we all want to continue to teach you to love giving more than receiving, to find and love the inner beauty in everything and everyone around you, to be able to love others the way you want to be loved. Most importantly, to love yourself for all the amazing things you are, and even more for the imperfections, flaws, and things that you aren't. Mazel tov Lulabelle. Now continue to go out there and make this world a better place.
So beautiful. On these occasions, those are the best kinds of tears, tears of joy. I want you to remember that moment, Leah, when you're feeling a little agitated. Take those tears and put them in a little vessel that you can look at when you're thinking, oh, they're so annoying. That's what teenagers think most of the time. These are the days when the sun seems to shine in and bless us, no matter what the weather is outside. So we'll continue with returning the Torah to the Ark as we sing Eitz Chaim He and Rise on page 256.
It's Chaim, tree of life. If you know this song, please join in and sing. It's Chaim,
Please be seated. Okay, Leah. No rest for the weary. Come back up. Leah, come back up. So now it gives me great pleasure to invite our treasurer, Ken Graber, to say a few words to you and make some presentations to you on behalf of the temple.
Thank you, Rabbi. Leah, let me just start out by saying that was one of those beautiful performances. I don't mean the word bad, I mean it great. Performances and the reading of the Torah, the Dvar Torah that we had. And I certainly hope at some point you're able to get a dog. But I'm sorry, okay. On behalf of my name is Ken Graber. I'm the treasurer of the temple, as Rabbi indicated. We have some items here, which hopefully you'll be able to keep and use in your life. This is the book of... We changed it, huh?
It is a travel Mishkan Tefillah, a travel prayer book.
We used to give a different book, so that's okay. So that'll be for you. And then, of course, here's a uniongram from the Sisterhood Processes. Here's a Kiddush cup from the Myron and Arthur Gross Memorial Fund. And here is you get to have a mask, a couple of them. Sisterhood presents a menorah, not a menorah, a mezuzah for the doorpost. Now, you can use it at your home now, you can use it when you go to college, you can use it at your own home. And not least, but we have a certificate issued by the temple, I'm sure signed by the rabbi, indicating your bat mitzvah today. And there's a certificate from the National Association of Temples that will pay towards a trip to Israel. Not the whole trip, but a good part of it. So everything is going in here, and I know you'll put it to good use. And I think the bag's a great idea. We never used to have them. There you go. You can sit down now if you want. Another part of my honor of being up here, other than just welcoming you all to our temple and greeting Leah, is there's some announcements I like to make. First of all, our services are Friday night at 7 o'clock, and this coming Friday, May 6th, will be our Sisterhood Shabbat here at this building. Of course, Mass are required. Saturday morning at 10:30, we always have our Shabbat service via Zoom. At 9:15 is Torah study, also versus Zoom. The connections are on the temple website. Tomorrow morning from 11 to 12 will be the Yom HaShoah Memorial program. You have to register. It's on our temple website, the registration. Tuesday morning, May 3rd, at Bagel J's, which is the Hopkins Road and Plaza Drive store, from 9:30 to 11, we'll have a little get-together, coffee, bagels, whatever, nice talk. May 21st, the Buffalo Gay Men's Choir will be performing here at Beth Zion. It's $20 ticket. You can get it at their website. And two things I always used to bring up. One is if anybody's able to donate blood, it's something that's greatly needed. This is the Red Cross or anybody else who collects the blood. And last but not least, the temple is asking for donations of money given to the Rabbi's Discretionary Fund, which are going to go for can go for many purposes, but the two main ones we're talking about, the temple has participated with Jewish Family Services to welcome Afghan refugees here in the Buffalo area. And we have raised already $5,000 twice. Well, $5,000 twice, which is $10,000. However, in addition to money, they need furniture, things like that. And lastly, the Ukraine refugees, which are in dire need, and anything that you can donate, mail to the temple, Aerobics for the Rabbi's Discretionary Fund for one of those sources, and it'll get sent to the correct charity. So thank you all. Once again, congratulations. And thank you. Thank you, Rabbi.
All right, Leah, one more time. It's called Prayer Aerobics. Yeah, just come. You don't need anything. You don't have to speak. You're finished. All right, so now it's my turn to say something to you. So Leah, I've had the privilege and honor of getting to teach you your Torah portion and some of your prayers. And you were not annoyed, or whatever it was that you said in your thank you. It was my pleasure and honor to get to know you and work with you on learning. Leah, as your mom said, you learn things very, very quickly. The challenge with Leah is she has to want to learn those things. But once she sets her mind to it, Leah, you are extremely bright. Once you do your studying and you learn something, it stays in your head. Leah, you are so engaging and so personable, and you are not like a typical teenager who comes to a session and doesn't know how to have a conversation. So it was always so interesting for me to have a session with you, because I kind of had a sense of what we would be talking about, but I never knew what to expect, and you have the most beautiful singing voice. But what I've come to learn with you is that you have a deep love and connection with your family. You have a unique relationship with your mother. You have a unique relationship with your father, with Mike, with Katie, with your sister, with all of your family. And your family are the people who are going to keep you grounded, who will be your anchor for you through thick and thin. It's not often that I see a bar or bat mitzvah shed those kind of tears, those emotional tears. And it made me happy to see that. Not that I wanted to see you cry, but it meant that you have that emotional connection with your parents. And when they felt that emotion, you felt that connection to what they were feeling. You are a 4th generation or 5th generation member of Temple Beth Zion. That is really remarkable. You stood on this bima, in this sanctuary, the same as your dad, his father, or his mother, your cousins, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. Turn around and look at those stained glass windows in that ark and the 10 Commandments. They saw all these members of your family, right? And now it's witness to you. If these walls could talk, what would they share about your family? What's the history that they could tell? And now you are part of this history. It's your story to be told going forward. Family, history, and the future. You're wearing your mother's... What? It's Katie's talit? No, your mother's talit that she wore at her bat mitzvah. Connecting you to your mother's side of the family, and Katie's bracelet. You are so interwoven with family on so many different levels. And now it's up to you to write your own story. That's really what this is about. Is what is the story of Leah going to be? At the end of our lives, people are not going to say to you, Leah, how much money did you make? How successful were you? How big is your house? How many awards did you win? What they want to know about you and your life, Leah, what the story of your life that people will most be interested to hear is, what did you do to make a difference in this world, to make this world a better place? The story of your life that will most matter is, how did you touch people's hearts and souls? How did you hear the cries of people who were in need and answer that call to make a difference? What did you do to make people smile? What did you do to change those things that needed to be changed in our world? We call that tikkun olam, and you signed that on that document, right? I look forward to hearing where your story of your life goes. I look forward to hearing that your next generation, your children, will be celebrating Bar and Bat Mitzvah here. Even if you move away, I think you will always have a deep connection to Temple Beth Zion. I think that you have many gifts, Leah, and I think that your gifts will take you far. And I look forward to hearing what you do with your special gifts. And now I'd like to invite your parents, your sister, and Mike and Katie to join us right here as we ask God's blessing for you. Let's actually do it over here because there's a little more room. Let's do it right over here. You're going to stand in front of me, and they're going to kind of stand like this. You're going to stand in front of me, they're going to stand around us. You're going to stand in front of me, and then they're going to circle around us. So, Leah, today it is beautifully sunny outside, and today is your special day. Wow, why didn't that go right over here? Today, you can feel the warmth of everybody surrounding you. But the people who are right here, these are your anchors, like one of your prophets. But I want you to feel their love wrapped around you all the time, not just today when it's such a special day. But these are the people who are going to be here for you all the time. When it's a boring day, when you're tired and cranky, when they're tired and cranky. They never get tired of that. They never get cranky. Never. You never get cranky either. But I want you to take that pause and breathe and remember that these are the people who will love you unconditionally, your grandparents too. I want you to feel that love and that warmth. And then the rest of the people here, they're also your community who's going to support you and be here for you, to celebrate with you, and to be there by your side when times are not so easy, because that's what community is all about. But it means that you need to be there for them as well. And we need to be there on the boring days, because everybody needs friends and family. And your dad mentioned, it's not just family and friends we need, but to be a Jew is to also have a life of the Spirit, to be connected with God. You can't just go looking for God when you need God at a time of illness or death or a time of joy, but it's something we need to work on all the time. And I hope you find a way to stay connected, not just to this Jewish community, but to the Jewish community in general, and figure out what that relationship means. And right now, we're going to bring God into this moment, and I ask God's special blessing on you as you're surrounded by your family. Would you ever put my hands on your shoulders? We'll just do a stand. Leah, may God bless you and keep you. Leah, may God always deal kindly and graciously with you. Leah, may God's presence always be with you, guiding you and sustaining you, and giving you and your sister a long and happy and healthy life. And may you and Hannah be among those who help bring peace to our world as we say together, Amen. We can give each other a hug. It's a day of many hugs. And now you can sit to be seated. We'll continue with Aleinu on page 282, going straight to page 283 and 287 as we rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר לאדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. Judaism teaches us the sacred duty of memory. On this Shabbat, we mention the names of those who died but recently, and for whom their families are observing the period of Shloshim, Gerda Weissman-Klein and Irving Vogel. We also mention the names of those for whom their families are observing their Yortzeit: Minnie Benderson, Jenny Stone Bladen, Lillian K. Block, Sidman Block, Alfred H. Cohen, Julius Davis, Madeline D. Davis, Sidney Ehrenreich, Harvey E. Gumans, Henry Holland, Richard L. Jacobson, Maynard Jaffe, Arthur A. Kaliska, Hyman Karnofsky, Miriam Goldman Klein, Dora Korn, Louis Lazar, M.D., Lawrence Allen Levite, Arthur E. Lewin, Robert Allen Matthews, Catherine L. Myers, Sarah N. Myers, Phyllis Boasberg Michaels, Marvin Morris, Raymond L. Morrison, Harvey N. Ohlenberg, Gloria L. Roblin, Florence R. Rosen, Lillian P. Rosen, Louise F. Russlander, Samuel Shatkin, DDS, MD, Robert Summerstein, Rebecca Sparberg, Ida Spitzer, Morris Sternberg, Dorothy Tannenbaum, Elias Wagner, Louis M. Weiss, and Barbara Zimmer. We remember, too, Leah's grandfather, who is no longer with us physically, but is here with us in spirit, Gerald Buck. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. Together we praise God's name with the words of Kaddish on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, b'yalma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye jechol beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam ulamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitala v'yitalal shemei dekutsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amira mi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shmaya. V'chayim aleinu vel kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimramav. Huya aseh shalom. Aleinu vel kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all who are bereaved, as we say together, Amen. Please be seated. And now we continue with the introduction to Kiddush Motzi with Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael,
signed in on page 212. Page 212.
Israel, ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורות הברית עולם.
And now, for the honor of leading us in Kiddush and Motzi, we invite Leah and Hannah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Hamotzi lechem min aretz, we give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rising song together, as our prayer is humbly said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamotzi lechem min aretz. Amen.
All right, each of you can take some, and you can take them back to your family. Take the whole thing. You can each take some. And our closing song is Siman Tov U'Mazel Tov.
Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov,
Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai barech et amo b'shalom. May God grant strength to God's people. May God bless all of us with peace. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov,
Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov,
Hey, Zach, we'll talk about next week. I will send you the cue sheet from Sisterhood.
Services next week are at 6.
No, it's at 7, but it's at Sisterhood Shabbat.
Okay.
So I'll send that to you. Well, I think we can rest your day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Yes, I have a JCC tomorrow.
Yeah. Right. Mazel tov.